Oleg, a relative and successor of Rurik, took power around the year 879. Oleg was entrusted with the care of the state as well as the care of Rurik's young son, Igor. However, some historians reject the notion of kinship between Rurik and Oleg. What do you think? Were they related or not? Let us know in the comments. Moving on. Oleg quickly showed that he knew what it meant to be a ruler, and by 881-882, he had already subdued the Smolensk lands and, most likely in the same year, marched on Kiev. He took control of Kiev, where Askold and Dir, whom we know from the previous part, were ruling. Oleg tricked them and killed them by deceit, becoming the first prince of Kiev in the process. Thanks to these conquests, the Rus expanded very rapidly, as we can see. Shortly after these events in 883, Oleg forced the Drevlians to pay him tribute. Then, only in 907, Oleg, along with the Drevlians, launched a military campaign against the Byzantine Empire. Oleg, as well as Byzantium, ended up benefiting from this war since Oleg managed to secure a favorable trade agreement that benefited both Rus and Byzantium. Our prince died shortly after these events, most likely in 912. According to legend, pagan priests predicted that he would die because of his beloved horse. Oleg then had his horse sent far away from him. Years passed, and Oleg asked where his horse was, and he was told that it had died. He asked to see its remains, and so he was taken to them. Oleg, convinced that nothing could harm him now and that the prophecy would not come true, no longer feared for his life, but when he stepped on the horse's skull, a snake slithered out and bit him, and Oleg died, fulfilling the prophecy. Remember though, this is just a legend and not a historical fact. I also want to mention the Schechter letter, which is one of many sources suggesting an alternative early history of the Rus, and it's not a widely accepted version. The Schechter letter suggests a power struggle in early Rus politics between factions supporting Oleg and factions loyal to Igor. Oleg supposedly lost this struggle in the end. According to the letter, Kiev was conquered at the beginning of the 10th century, not in 882. It also tells us that Igor wasn't Rurik's son, but rather a more distant descendant, and that Oleg didn't directly follow Rurik, but that there is a lost generation between the legendary Varangian ruler and his documented successors. There is also a certain similarity between Oleg's death in the Schechter letter, which claims he fled and attacked France, initially believed to be Persia, where he was killed, and an account from Arab historians describing a similar attack by the Rus on the Muslim state of Aran in 944 or 945. But this is just one of many sources that suggest an alternate course of history. It is not a widely accepted version of events. This is why the early history of the Rus is extremely convoluted and uncertain. But we know that Oleg's successor was Rurik's now adult son Igor, who would die in a brutal way, and his wife would seek revenge. But more on that in the next episode. Leave a like and subscribe for more. Have a great day.